So this is a project that actually Matt and I were both involved in because I came onto the council at the start of 2012. And we realized that we wanted to elevate Dubuque Street, which what Matt said is a major highway leading into Iowa City. It's probably the most scenic road leading into our city. There's also a bridge, the Park Road Bridge, that had inhibited the flow of floodwater. Stuff got logs got backed up there and at the bridge, so we needed to do something about that. But because it's the most scenic entryway to the city, and because there's a steep wooded hillside on the east side of Dubuque Street with some buildings up there and homeowners and all that, we had to figure out some way to design this project so that we didn't undermine the scenic character of the entryway, so that we could facilitate the flow of traffic, whether there was in the event of a high flood, so that we could elevate the bridge high enough so that there would be no obstruction in the case of a flood, and so that the bridge could enhance the New Hampshire auditorium that the university was in the process of building, a very expensive building, and so that we could provide space for bikeways and better pedestrian trails and better intersections and pedestrian crossings and all that kind of thing. So we had a lot of staff input on that, and we processed that quite a bit over a lengthy period of time, and had difficult conversations on our council about how high to elevate the road, how high to elevate the bridge. Did we want just an ordinary concrete bridge, or did we want one that was aesthetically more compatible with Hampshire? That kind of thing, and there were costs associated with each of those decisions. So eventually we came to decisions on those things, and I can say that the project is now 99% finished. There's just a little bit of landscaping left to do. We'll have a grand opening in the spring. We had a major flood, another major flood actually, at the end of September, early October of this past year. And we were very concerned about that. It looked like it could be a problem. It proved not to be. We had no damage and no flooding of that roadway or the bridge at all. So the Gateway project worked exactly as it was designed to.
Could you touch on the funding, how that project was funded?
Sure. There's most of it, well, half, I guess, came from a local option sales tax that the state authorized us to use. Was it almost 25 million came from the state, or it came through the local option sales tax. The total project, this says 41 million, basically. I thought it was more than that, but
it was 40-something million.
Yeah, and then other bits of money came from the U.S. Economic Development Administration, from the Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development Committee. I don't know if that's federal or state. I guess it's federal. Iowa DOT, Surface Transportation Program funds, sanitary sewer, trunk sewer, capital investment project having to do with sanitary trunk sewers. That was another thing we were able to do, is because we knew we need to rebuild Dubuque Street. That gave us an opportunity to install a brand spanking new sewer trunk line underneath the roadway.
Yeah, Jim painted an accurate picture of that particular aspect of our flood response. But this new entryway, the elevated Dubuque Street entryway, it was just about the biggest piece of our response to the flood and our capital planning. It was one of the biggest projects we've ever undertaken as a city. But it was an obvious one, because every time there was a flood, that road would be one of the first things to overtop with water, and it would impede commuter traffic, it would impede the university. There was a major dormitory right along that route. It would impede the hospital and the university employment sectors and emergency workers, and it just had to be dealt with. One of the nice things about a flood, if you can say that, is that it unleashes, and pardon my pun, a flood of resources to bring to bear. And in the case of Iowa City, we had a lot of capital projects that we wanted to tackle. Aging infrastructure, aging bridges, roads that needed to be redone, aging sewer and water trunks. and elsewhere in the city, an aging wastewater treatment facility. The monies that came into Iowa City and the University of Iowa, while I'm at it, permitted a massive rebuilding, and it was a great opportunity for us to shore up some of our infrastructure and replace what needed to be replaced. And Dubuque Street was a good example of that.